Hi everyone, I have been wanting to make this recipe with you since I started Mary Tells All. It's my fail-proof pancakes. This recipe also happens to be very high in protein, and I really like to have that option for my kids and for us. So let's get started. First, you start with full-fat Greek yogurt. So it's really based in yogurt and eggs. So what I do is usually I have to double the recipe, to be honest, but this time I'm going to do just one serving so you can see what a typical serving would be. So 3 large heaping spoons of Greek yogurt. Next, 3 eggs. So 1, 2. I have been collecting recipes over the years just from friends, from influencers, from cookbooks that I've had. And you just have those recipes that you go back to over and over again because they just work. So there have been many that I was hopeful about, but then they just don't work so well. And then there have been some that just keep giving time and time again, always work, Old Faithful. I just love those recipes. They're just great. So I have my eggs and my Greek yogurt. I'm gonna give that a mix. Next, you're gonna add in your vanilla essence. I have my vanilla essence. You're just gonna put about a teaspoon, maybe even half a teaspoon. Give it a mix. So all of the wet ingredients are going in first. Not all of the wet ingredients actually, because there's gonna be some milk added at the end. And then next is your flour. So you can use whatever flour you want. I find that just kind of using plain, either white or whole wheat flour works best as opposed to almond flour. But almond flour will also probably be okay. It'll just be a slightly different consistency. To be honest, I don't think there's that much of a difference in terms of, health-wise with white and whole wheat flour. I know that there's the bleached issue, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. That's just my sense of it. So I'm doing some white flour, some whole wheat flour, and basically what you want to do is just kind of sprinkle it on there until it's kind of covering the top. So like this. I literally don't measure. I probably could, but it's just not necessary. At this point, your batter might be quite thick, which is totally fine. I add in a bit of salt and a bit of baking powder. I would say a pinch of salt and about a teaspoon of baking powder. Just kind of sprinkle it on top. This is the perfect time to start to reheat your pan. I have found that with pancakes, the problem with the first batch is that the pans have not been properly preheated, and then the pancakes just flop down. So you don't want to do that. Usually I put it on kind of a medium to high heat, like 6 or something if you have an electric stove, and it just gets it nice and hot, and then you can turn it down to a 5 right at the medium stage once you put your pancakes on. So let's go ahead and do that. I like to use butter. Olive oil is totally fine, or coconut oil. I find that coconut oil is delicious. It has that kind of sweetness to it, which works well for pancakes. Usually I reserve olive oil for my more savory dishes, but it works really. It's totally fine. You also want to make sure that you put plenty of fat on the pan. Even with nonstick pans, I tend to put, a decent amount of butter. I'll just show you how much, something like that. And I also use 2 pans because I have a lot of people who I'm feeding. So everyone's usually really ready to eat by the time the pancakes are coming off. I have a very thick batter here. I'm gonna add the last ingredient, which is milk. You could probably make this plant-based very easily if you wanna just use a different kind of, plant-based yogurt and then use almond milk or something. I'm sure that would work as well. I actually have used almond milk before, but I primarily use cow's milk Greek yogurt. So milk, you just put in until it's about the consistency that you want. So you can just kind of pour it, mix it, and then pour more. And I gotta tell you, everyone loves these pancakes, okay? Even though there's no official sweetener in it, you have the vanilla essence, but besides that, I don't add any sweetener. You can add things to it. You can add blueberries, you can add chocolate chips, you can add bananas, but you also don't have to. And my kids just devour these. We bring these to the zoo, to the playground. We have them at home. I think their favorite way to eat it now is with sliced banana and maple syrup on top. And, also can eat it with honey. And even my kids who don't usually eat bananas they will eat bananas with these pancakes if it's sliced on. So I find that with kids, it's a really good hack. Even your picky ones, I'm talking about my picky eaters, there are certain foods they absolutely will not touch unless it's presented in a certain way. Maybe you found that for your kids as well. The most picky eaters, they will make exceptions. You know, the ones who will absolutely not eat eggs, but if you have eggs in the pancakes, then they'll just devour them. Or will not touch banana, but if the banana is cut on the pancakes, they will try it. In fact, another hack that I have to encourage your children to eat different foods that maybe they otherwise wouldn't eat is to set the table. And maybe some of you out there are having set tables most nights, which in that case, I bow down to you because we are not able to achieve that most nights. We try to do that kind of once a week on Fridays, but apart from that, usually everyone is kind of eating on their own schedule. It's approximately the same time, but we don't necessarily set the table. But often, if there are foods that, you know, I have a picky child who doesn't want to eat most of the things, if the table is set or if I kind of put together things that look pretty, then they're more likely to try it. This is a consistency that I like. Let's get these on the pan. Once your butter starts to kind of sizzle, that's when it's ready to take the pancakes on. Also, another fun thing about these pancakes, or any pancakes, is when I'm putting them on the pan, I don't necessarily need to make them in pancake shapes. I just kind of throw them on, and then it becomes some artwork where everyone's trying to decide what it looks like, and then everyone gets really attached to which one they want to eat, like the one that looks like a flower or the one that looks like a dinosaur, and then that's the one that they claim for themselves. So that's always a cute thing to do with kids as well. All right, they are cooking. By the way, as I'm flipping these, I'm also pressing them down because sometimes they rise a lot and I want to make sure that it's kind of even. You honestly can leave it at a 6, you don't have to turn it down, but then you just really want to be manning the station so that it doesn't burn. All right, everyone, these ones here are ready to come off. They look amazing. There you go. So I'm just gonna plate them. I'm gonna have the full recipe written out on my YouTube page where I post this video on my no measure, fail-proof pancakes. And I really hope you try it. I know that all of you will love it. Have a good one. Take care.